It's not about perfection. It's not about how much weight is lifted or how many miles can be ran. It isn't about the wins or losses or even the competition. At the end of the day, it's about you. How you feel about yourself. It's about making progress. It's about pushing yourself and learning just how far you can take it. It's about setting goals and demolishing them. It's about seeing the limits and knowing you are limitless. It's about never giving up and never giving in. Do you have what it takes?
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 Now it's a party.
Welcome to Gear TV. That's right, the inaugural episode of Gear TV Online. I am Jeff, the producer, and I'm sitting here with my co-host, Joe Pietaro, editor-in-chief of FitnessRxForMenOnline.com.
Yeah. How's it going, Jeff?
Good. You know, this is our first episode, and we're, trying to put this thing together. And we have a couple of interesting segments that I don't want to give away yet. But let's talk about you first of all, because I know you. I've known you for years from the industry, just reading all the stuff that you've done. Talk about your job at Fitness RX for Men and being the editor-in-chief of the online website.
I handle all the online stuff, which basically is the website itself, all the social media pages. I'm also the lead writer for the Fitness RX for Men print magazine. I'm also a contributing editor for Muscular Development magazine and a columnist for that. And I also co-host a weekly radio show, Extreme Radio, with Greg Valentino from MD.
With Greg Valentino, the guy who has the tissue in his pants, right? Whenever the Yankees lose, right? He goes.
Big Yankee fan. Big Yankee fan. Yeah.
Now, also in addition to that, you've also in the past worked for Flex.
Yes.
And you did some writing there as well, and some.
Yes, with Flex and Muscle and Fitness. Yes.
Right. And we have a guest coming up, IFBB pro Juan Diesel Morel, of course, a gear athlete, and you've worked with him as well.
Yes.
Let's talk about Juan for a second, because the one thing that we're gonna bring up with Juan once he's here is the 20,000 calorie video that just came out, and you and I were talking about it off the air. And what's your opinion of this video?
It's sick. I mean, since I've known Juan for a few years, when we both worked at Weider, I know that he has this crazy big cheat day. But to actually, to hear him talk about it and stuff is one thing. But in this video, you see it. And you have to check it out. And it's unbelievable how he's able, his metabolism is incredible.
Yeah. It's actually a mutant metabolism. We're
Absolutely.
talking ice cream in the morning, Oreos. And again, this is breakfast. Ice cream, Oreos, a topping of chocolate. That's meal number one. Meal number two, he has eggs, of course, which is everyone's normal breakfast.
Yeah.
But he has a much higher amount, than anyone else. Then he goes and he trains, doesn't vomit at that point. Now, I'm describing, the video to people in my gym whenever I'm training. I said, you got to check out this video. It's 20,000 calories. It's fully documented. When I describe the first meal, it's the same reaction. I'm ready to vomit.
Yeah.
Now, when you were watching the video, what was going through your head? Because, you actually see him eating it sped up.
Yeah.
What was your thought process when actually seeing it happen?
I'm looking at this video and I'm saying, I can't believe that this guy is ripped and shredded practically year round. Obviously contest time, he comes in tighter, but he's never out of condition. Yeah. He always has his abs, and you're looking at him eating ice cream and Five Guys burgers with a bag full of greasy fries, and it's like, he can get away with it. God bless him. That's great. That's his body. I know I can't do that. I don't know about you, but I know I can't do that. Give me a bag of greasy fries, I'm probably done for the weekend, even seeing the gym. But I couldn't believe what I was seeing, even though I was aware that Juan ate like this. Sure.
And of course, there's even one point where he shows his abs. There's no spillover. Normally, normally when a bodybuilder, eats a high greasy food or a lot of carbs, especially when they're in that kind of condition, you start to do what's called spilling over, and you just start to get a little watery.
Bloat. Yeah.
This guy's not bloated. He's shredded. He's showing it off. Mm-hmm. I mean, have you ever seen, a guy who even remotely comes close to Juan in terms of eating that much? I mean, you might have. Is there anyone else that comes to mind that kind of reminds you of what Juan is capable of doing with that 20,000 calorie cheat day?
Not to that extent, but I know the old school bodybuilders like Arnold, he used to get 2 pounds of big hamburger meat at the Germans, they used to call it, which was around the corner from the original Gold's Gym in Venice.
2 pounds you used to eat?
2 pounds of hamburger meat.
Yeah.
He wouldn't eat the buns. It was just the meat
Right.
he would eat. And this is something that he said in interviews and I've read
Yeah.
over the years. So I guess something like that where these old school bodybuilders would just eat a dozen eggs.
Yeah.
Because nutrition obviously was nowhere near it is now as
Sure.
far as breakdowns and carbs and fats and
Yeah.
proteins. So these guys just kind of ate, they drank whole milk. So I would probably compare it to that.
Yeah, but
where
here's
these
what's-
old school guys were eating.
Sure. Here's what's interesting is that, even though that's 100% true, right? You talk about in the 70s that they were eating all this like terrible food and, they're eating like hamburger meat and, again, without the buns, they're having dairy products. Juan is eating for his cheat day. Okay, let's clarify. He's having dairy. I mean, he's having ice cream. It's not fake. It's not no health food crap.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not no soy ice cream. There's no offense to people out there who have the soy stuff, but this is real Breyers ice cream or whatever ice cream brand that he buys with Oreo cookies and all this other stuff. Like there has to be something to, if you want to be big and muscular, to overeating. Okay, while including a certain amount of protein. How do
Yeah.
you feel about that philosophy about eating whatever is like in front of you and then simultaneously training in order to put on muscle? Do you think that works for everyone? Do you think there's a select few? Why does it work for Juan?
It works for Juan because it works for Juan. Everybody has a different metabolism, has a different body. I could eat certain things and get away with it. Like I'll have a cheat day. Sure, I'm not.
What do you eat on your cheat day?
I like pizza.
All right. How many? Do you eat like a whole pie? Or
I
do
can
you eat like
bang
a few
down the
slices?
pie if
Oh,
I
really?
want, but I usually go for 3 or 4. I try
Okay.
to, I try to keep it
3 or 4 slices.
reasonable. Oh yeah, without
You
even
see?
thinking about it.
Yeah, but Juan's eating a whole pie in the video.
whole
This-
pie,
this
2
is-
pies at Pizza Hut.
Right,
Not even
right,
real
right.
pizza, that
Right, right.
greasy stuff.
But like he pre-games it with some wings, I mean, he's there, he's eating the wings first, and then he goes for the pizza. This is
Yeah.
after eating all this crap like beforehand and training on top of that. So, I mean, I guess that the genetics come into play not only in terms of the physicality as to how the person looks, but also in terms of what they're able to assimilate food-wise.
Yeah.
I've never seen a person who can do it and actually put their money where their mouth is, or fork where their mouth is, whatever, and actually document it on video the way that he did. So I think that that's something that like a lot of people are going to be interested in watching. And if you haven't seen it, I mean, get out from under the rock. It's youtube.com/GearNutra. And you know what? Just go to YouTube and type in 20,000 calories. I think he actually ate more than 20,000 calories, believe it or not. If you count all the calories, I think it probably comes out
that was
the
a
way
rough
over.
estimation.
Yeah, really rough. So, also speaking about Juan, this year he's actually going to go into the, to his first ever Mr. Olympia competition. Okay, not only is this a special, occasion for Juan Morel, who finally gets to step on the big stage, but there's a special occasion for the Mr. Olympia. It's the 50th anniversary. It's the first time since the 80s that NBC Sports is actually going to be covering it.
Yes.
Now, I mean, talk about how big that this Olympia competition is going to be, not just for Juan, but for everyone involved.
When you talk about the golden, 50th anniversary of any big sporting event, it's always something really special. So obviously, for bodybuilding fans, to be able to reach that milestone is something incredible. And when you see where we have a guy like Phil Heath, who's the defending champion 3 in a row, he can make it 4 in a row this year. You have, a great lineup, a very top-heavy lineup.
Yeah, you got Kai Green, you got Dennis Wolf coming in, who's a favorite now.
Sean Roden, let's not forget about Sean Roden.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's not forget about Diesel. I mean, to me, Diesel is the type of guy where he can definitely make a top 6. It's going to be hard to break that top 3 unless one of those guys comes in totally off.
Right.
But to be in top 6 guy for him, I think it's very plausible and it's probable at this point. So it's a great Olympia because it's got so many big names in it. Obviously, we're not going to have Jay this year in it. But we have so many other names that it's actually, that you're not going to really notice that one name missing because there's so many great bodybuilders competing.
Right, and it's also an interesting time for bodybuilding in general because of the movie that came out. The name of which escapes me right now. Help me out.
Generation Iron.
There we go, Generation Iron. You see, this is why you have a co-host. So that he can
Pumping
pick up-
Iron Part 2, I guess that they tried to.
Part 3.
3 with the women.
That's
Yes.
right. See? Come on, you should know this.
I saw it.
But Generation Iron comes out and it starts to give a little bit of an insight into how, the modern day bodybuilder trains.
Yeah.
And it definitely harkens back to, to Pumping Iron. Now we're talking about NBC sports coverage.
Yes.
How do you think the public is going to receive bodybuilding? Because, because again, even back when it was on ESPN and it was on the mainstream for a while. I personally, when I was younger, I actually enjoyed it. I didn't fully understand what was going on, but I appreciated the way that the bodies looked. I appreciated what it took to get there. In 2014, how do you think the public now would react to watching a bodybuilding show having no knowledge of what it entails?
I think most people are not going to take to it as far as saying, wow, I'm going to start watching this or reading about this or following it. And it's kind of sad because if you think about back then, like the 80s was the fitness craze, everybody called it. So that's when bodybuilding started getting big with body shaping. You had Sean Ray, Corey Everson. They were all on ESPN every Saturday morning. And when at the time I was 16 years of age, 17 years of age, was a great program to watch when your hormones are firing through the roof at that age. So to see Corey Everson working out in a skimpy little outfit, not too bad.
You see, and there was no horny goat weed back then. That was all natural.
There was no internet. There was nothing here. It was all imagination. Really.
Yeah.
So when you start looking at things like that, where it kind of spurned it on, I don't think we're going to see a repeat of that. Obvious because of the sizes, the competitors. It's not it's not an appealing, it's not an attainable physique. But it is going to make the bodybuilding community, I think, flock to NBC Sports Network, which showed the Stanley Cup Finals this past year. So it's not like it's just some network that shows leftover stuff.
No,
they showed the Cup. It's a huge,
this is 100% legitimate. I mean, this is like
Definitely.
full coverage and everything. Now, this is my personal opinion. You have a couple of new divisions out there, okay? Namely,
Yes.
men's physique, which will be in the Olympia, and of course the Bikini Olympia, which has been around for a couple of years now.
Yes.
I think personally that I 100% agree with you when it comes to the bodybuilding side. I think that people won't, understand it. They won't agree with what's going on for whatever reason, because it's very interesting. I think that the public appreciates the way that these bodybuilders look. I think they might be a little intimidated, but I do think that that's something that they appreciate. It is the perfection of the human form. When it comes to men's physique, you're talking about a look that actually is attainable. You're talking about how like these
100%.
bodybuilders aren't.
Yeah.
I think the men's physique look, really entails what it takes to train hard in the gym and diet to a certain point. I think the bikini look, especially recently, it's actually transformed into a tight ab division. You have to have some level of muscle tone.
Sure.
How do you think the public is going to react to that?
Obviously, a lot probably better than the bodybuilding side of it. I'm curious now. NBC Sports Network is showing 2 90-minute segments, one on October 16th, I believe at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, and the other on October 18th.
Photographic
at
memory.
5:30 p.m. Eastern.
There's no teleprompters.
I might be wrong on that, but I know there's 2 90-minute specials. It's going to be kind of like best of or whatever. How they're going to just do kind of a medley of what's going on. I'm curious to see. Do they go for the freak show aspect and show the female bodybuilding, the men's bodybuilding, and even female physique, women's physique, to the average person in the street would say, ooh, where I think they're, knockouts. They're gorgeous. And I do hope that they show a good amount of male physique and bikini because, like you said, that's definitely going to be more mainstream.
Sure.
Something that the average guy or gal on the street will be able to look at and say, well, maybe let me check this out a little more.
Sure.
So I'm hoping that they don't try to go for the shock freak factor and go. Obviously, they're going. That's the highlight of the night is Phil, whoever wins that Sandow. But don't ruin it by just showing that. Give these other divisions a little bit of a play. Give them some attention because that's where your market is, really, I think.
Absolutely.
I think that the average person out there will watch it for that and maybe turn off once they show the other ones. I hope they give them all a chance, but don't cheat in these newer divisions, which definitely the demo was much larger for them.
So speaking of Dana Lynn Bailey, I think that she's actually managed to penetrate, the mainstream market. I mean, she's out there like selling clothes and, just talking with people. And I think that that's one aspect that has been neglected in the past. You have to be personable. You have to be able to talk to your fans. That's another way to bring in the general public, like to actually have conversations with them, which is why I'm a huge fan of a good friend of mine, Juan Diesel Morel, who's coming up soon. Like he takes the time to talk to his fans. He talks about what he does. He talks about why he trains that way. I think that once you get some understanding with what bodybuilding is and why you physique train. I mean, obviously you go to the gym, correct?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and so, you go because it feels good. I mean, feels good. And also there happens to be a cool benefit of getting a physical result. But I mean, it's a great thing to do. Anyone who hasn't done it, I mean, why are you watching this? You should be out there training. But, it really does, hype you up for the rest of the day. So I think that watching this like extreme version of it to see where you can take the human body. The reason why it's not attainable to be a freakish bodybuilder is because that's not your job. If it was your job to be a 250-pound muscle god, you might get very close. You might even be able to achieve it. But we're talking about guys like this is their job. Okay, so NBC Sports must have said to themselves, "There's something in here that taps into the mainstream. Let's like try it out because someone at NBC Sports had the bright idea to do this. And I think it's a wonderful idea. So I guess I'm trying to reason out, why do you think that they managed to like take that, huge leap and put it back on, the mainstream broadcast?
I don't know. I mean, you can speculate a few different things. I mean, the last time I remember any bodybuilding being on network TV was a couple of years ago on ESPN Sports Nation, which is kind of more of a lighthearted it's not 100% serious type of show. They joke around, have a little fun with sports.
What did they do there?
They had on Kai, Phil, I think Yamagishi was on. They had about 3 or 4 pros on. And obviously they were just telling them just to do most muscular and make the faces, and they interviewed them, but
kind
it
of
was
like clowns,
in a way. But it was cool just because there was some kind of exposure on ESPN. But so I'm hoping that that's not a vision of what's to come for this thing.
Okay, imagine a person who is not exposed to baseball. Okay, and the way that you introduce baseball to the general public is that you get a guy like Derek Jeter dressed in his full Yankee outfit, bringing in his baseball bat and his glove. And the way that he's interviewed is, oh, hey, why don't you swing the bat a couple of times? Why don't you spit on the ground? Because, they're like picking all these things. They're like, oh, why don't you rub, why don't you rub the ball and throw it? Why don't you show us a knuckleball? And making it a novelty as opposed to asking the real question. Like, why did you get started in this? Like, what motivated you? What's your background? Kai Green has an incredible background. If you look where he came from and where he ended up, I mean, this guy has overcome so many obstacles in his life. For him to be on stage, one of the best in the world right now, it totally goes against anyone's expectations. If you look at where he started, I think that has to be tapped into also. Even a guy like Phil Heath, I mean, people call him the gift. He calls himself the gift. He's not exactly giving gifts. I mean, this guy, he beats himself up to get to where he's at. Like, there are very interesting stories. And again, I think hopefully, I'm hoping that that's the angle that NBC Sports is gonna, come at it at. Kind of like this, like true life, kind of like Hollywood thing where they actually follow like 1 or 2 bodybuilders. I think Generation Iron started with that. But not, I don't want to see a Kai versus Phil thing. I want to see like profiles done. I want to see a profile on Kai, a profile on Phil. And if I'm giving any of you great ideas, contact me or Joe will help you out.
but the thing with the Kai versus Phil and Generation Iron, I think what they were trying to do was capture that Arnold Lou type of thing.
100%.
Obviously, Kai and Lou both in Brooklyn. There were similarities there where Phil was kind of more of the ritzy guy and Arnold on the West Coast, a little more money, a little more flashy, whatever. So I think that's where that was. Now, what I'm hoping is because they have practically a month to cut this NBC Sports program and put this thing together, that they do it the right way. And by that, I mean you can have Phil talking, but then all of a sudden you could show video while he's talking of him training, of him posing, because it's already going to be done, the show.
That's right.
So you don't have to have him posing for the camera like Sports Nation did. Right. You could have him, okay, why do you do this? What time do you wake up? How, and stuff like that. So people can go like, wow, these guys, this is a life commitment. These guys don't just do a couple of things and they look great. They have to do 24 hours a day, including the type of sleep they get, how much, how long, when do they get up, when do they eat, they have to time their meals, measure out grams of protein and stuff. So I'm hoping that they take that angle, but of course show them training. Let people see how much weight this guy throws up, how strong he is. Let them see him posing, how ripped and great he looks on stage. Don't make that the show, though.
Let me ask you a question. Did they ever come up with a reality bodybuilding show? I'm not talking about just bodybuilders who want to be bodybuilders. Like, we've seen that on MTV in the past. Like, oh, I want to be a bodybuilder. This guy's like, making a fool of himself and totally bastardizing any version of what reality is in terms of the gym. Imagine a bodybuilding show where you take, the top pros and you kind of make a real world MTV show. You put them in a house for about a week and you just see how they interact and see how they live. How do you think that would turn out?
It would be pretty wild.
Protein would be stolen. Gym memberships would be stolen.
There'll be a lot.
Oh God!
I think guys like us would enjoy it. I don't know if everybody else would enjoy it.
That's the point.
But obviously we've seen where bodybuilding has become so niche, so cult-like that it has a great following. It's a rabid fan base, but that fan base is not the majority. So you're hoping small things like this NBC Sports Network, things like Gear TV, of course, also bring it out there a little. Bring it out to the mainstream. Let the average person see this and see, wow, these guys aren't crazy. They're just regular dudes. Like you said, it's their job. Absolutely. They have great genetics. They have a great gift. And now they're able to do these things, and they're making a living out of it.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. 6 weeks, the Mr. Olympia competition 2014. Coming up, we have a couple of great athlete segments with Gear TV's own Jason Poston, Carolina Silva, and of course, Bikini Pro Lindsay Waters, and a special segment with IFBB Pro Juan Diesel Morel, who'll be in studio. Coming back right after this, I'm Jeff the producer. He's Joe Pietaro. Be back in a minute.
It's not about perfection. It's not about how much weight is lifted or how many miles can be ran. It isn't about the wins or losses or even the competition. At the end of the day, it's about you, how you feel about yourself. It's about making progress. It's about pushing yourself and learning just how far you can take it. It's about setting goals and demolishing them. It's about seeing the limits and knowing you are limitless. It's about never giving up and never giving in. Do you have what it takes?
Welcome back to Gear TV. I'm Jeff the producer, here with the inaugural episode of Gear TV Online. As you can see, I'm no longer with my co-host because he fell asleep a little bit, but we're giving him some grape-flavored E-Shock. That's right, 5-hour energy. And I'm actually in love with E-Shock. I've been taking it for the past 2 weeks, and you guys definitely got to check it out. VitaminShop.com will ship all over the place, no matter where you're from. Right now, it's time for Gear's first athlete segment. That's right, where the athletes give us weekly updates into what they're doing and what they have been doing, what they're doing for the rest of the year, and whatever else they want to talk about. Let's start off first with IFBB Pro men's physique competitor Jason Poston down in Dallas, Texas. Jason, how's it going? And it looks like he's holding up a magazine of some sort.
Oh, you know, just reading my Fitness RX mag here, latest edition. They did a little article on my recent New York Pro win back in May, and so it was just released in the September article. It's always cool to see something like that, you know, being highlighted with one of your accomplishments, and I'm still kind of riding that wave. You know, we're here weeks out, you know, a couple months out from the Olympia. And this is really when I'm getting in tune. I mean, I'm in my little Poston cave, my little bat cave, just focusing so much on preparation and focusing so much on doing everything right. You know, I'm studying a lot of the shows, studying a lot of my posing. I'm posing every single day, you know, trying to just refine that perfect routine and the perfect stance and the perfect look, everything that I need to do in order to have that look they want to be the Mr. Olympia champion this year for men's physique. So this week, training-wise, it couldn't get any better. You know, if I can whine a little bit, which I hate whining, but, you know, I've had a little bit of tendonitis, but I've had such awesome workouts this week, being pumped and pushed from the pre-shock. It took me a while to really get used to how intense the stuff was because I'm very stim sensitive. But I start off with half a scoop, and I'm up to a full scoop before my workouts now. Midday, my body's really enjoying my 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock workouts, and 1 scoop of the Gear Nutra pre-shock before. I'm like insane. I feel like, you know, I'm going 100 miles an hour. I'm doing like 1 to 2 extra exercises, probably 4 to 8 extra sets. Spend a little bit more time in the gym where normally I'm, you know, 45 minutes to an hour and out. I'm going like, you know, an hour to an hour and a half. And then I have so much energy, my body's so full, and my weight is actually up, that I'm doing a little bit of cardio too, not really to burn fat, just because I don't know what to do with all the energy. So the E-Shock in the middle of my workouts I feel like gives me a whole nother push, not just from, carbs. I think there's only like 5 to 8 carbs, but it's more or less the extra leucine, the agmatine, sulfate, loading all the creatine right now. I've never been a big creatine loader, but right now creatine seems to be my friend. It's keeping me so full. I'm sitting at 210 today. When I started my prep at 9 weeks out, I was 213, which is the heaviest I've ever been. I've never been this lean at 213 or 210. So, part of me is like, whoa, what the heck's going on? Why am I, 210 pounds, but then I'm looking at my abs and they're still right on point. So, if anything, I'm looking to be a little bit heavier at the Olympia and but still have the aesthetic streamline, small waist. Right now my belts and my pant size and everything, I'm not a waist measure or size and all that. I don't wear a squeam like all these, people trying to wear corsets, in the physique world. But I noticed that my pants are looser than before, and then I'm still trying on my bathing suits. I can actually wear my Olympia bathing suit from last year right now at 210, which doesn't even make sense because I was like 194 at the Olympia last year. So 16 pounds, I can still, like, where is it going? I don't know. I think it paid off just eating clean all year and not letting myself go. I've never really let myself go, but it definitely pays to eat clean and to put quality nutrients in your body. So speaking of quality nutrients, of course, I'm on my fuel meals, whether it's fuel meals or I'm cooking or, some of my other sponsors around here, restaurants in Dallas that have been supplying me with really good organic wild game food. Man, I'm just enjoying some of the food right now. I've got my fuel meals right here. They just got a shipment. You can see the box. There's 2 boxes. I still haven't even packed that yet. And just shout out to Fuel Meals. I know they're sending a lot of our Gear Nutri athletes food now. So you guys are such a blessing, man. We really appreciate you. And then check this out. This is crazy. I just got another 2 boxes in the mail just now. Here is some healthy brownies, Paleo Bomb brownies from Paleo Bakery and Julian Bakery. They're sending me all this low-carb, gluten-free food that, really for my diet, I can eat this during prep. So, I mean, you talk about stress-free, you talk about no worries. If I can go into Olympia eating brownies and low-carb ice cream and sandwich wraps, even cereal, they got everything, but it's organic, natural, healthy. These guys are the cutting edge of food. So that's what's up in my world right now. I'm getting away with more foods. I'm just enjoying the overall prep right now. The one thing, if I could just get rid of this tendonitis, I haven't been able to work biceps, but I think I've punished them enough over the last 3 years. That's when I first started working biceps, just 3 years ago. So I think I've really put on some size. I don't know. I mean, they're right. No, they're always going to need work, but I think they'll heal up here pretty quick. So you guys, if you're wanting any tips on getting lean right now, what I'm doing is, I'm doing some fasted cardio in the morning. I do it for a different reason than you guys should, but I am doing it to control my blood sugar in the mornings. It's been a little bit high, but it's the same benefit for you guys. Glycogen is depleted throughout the night. Your liver starts to store glycogen as well. You want to lean out quick, get up in the morning, do some fasted cardio. Don't overdo it. Just keep your heart rate, at a sweat level. If you're sweating in 5 minutes, that's what you want. Don't need to be too crazy scientific specific here. Go for about 20 minutes on an empty stomach. Get your BCAAs from the E-Shock. You can sip on that during your cardio, and then go have your big old breakfast. So that's my little tip for cardio. And I just want you guys to know, we're here at Gear. We want to provide you with every type of outlet, whether it's through supplements, training, advice, tips. Gear Nutri athletes are here. We got your back. We're here to stay. And as you can see, we're blowing up. and we ain't going nowhere. We're going to be here for a while. So you guys need anything, just contact the Gear Nutria athletes. We got your back. Back to you in the studio, Jeff.
Thanks a lot, Jason. Now we head over to Miami, Florida, where IFBB Pro bikini competitor Lindsay Waters is stopping by with her tip of the week. Lindsay, what do you got for us this week in terms of diet and bikini? I know you always come up with some interesting stuff that people can use and add to their food. So what's going on down there in Miami?
Hey guys, it's Lindsay here. Just got done with a good shoulder workout. And it's time to take my whey protein, and something else that I like to put in that shake is a little thing called flax milk. Now, a lot of you are probably used to using almond milk, maybe soy milk, but flax milk is actually, in my opinion, a lot healthier and creamier than almond milk. Almond milk to me is a little watered down, so I like using this stuff. So it is exactly what you think it is. It's flax. And the kind that I have has protein in it. So the protein that's in it is pea protein. Sounds disgusting, but I swear to God, it actually doesn't taste bad at all. It tastes really good. It's a plant-based protein, and there's no dairy, there's no soy, there's no gluten in it, and it's packed with omega-3s. So basically, you always hear about omega-3s and omega-6s. Well, most of us have an overabundance of omega-6, so that comes in certain nuts and seeds and oil. So you might be using a lot of olive oil, so you're getting it there, but omega-3 is what we actually lack. So it's a great way to get those omega-3s, and it's really low in calorie. If you take a look, it's only about 50 calories per cup. And there's 0 sugar in it. There's 5 grams of protein per cup in here. 2 grams of carbs, 2.5 grams of fat. There's even some healthy fats in there, some polyfats and monofats. So definitely recommend using this in your shakes. And if you make protein pancakes, putting it in there, and coffee, using this as like your coffee creamer, because like I said, it's very creamy. And I got mine from Whole Foods. You can find it there, or I don't know if there's a Fresh Market around you, but basically those stores have them. It's not even that expensive at all, but I definitely recommend using this over almond milk any day. So this is what I'm about to go have, and back to you guys in New York.
Thanks a lot, Lindsay, and it looks pretty interesting. I don't know if I'll be trying it, but then again, I'm not a bikini competitor, because if I was, I wouldn't come in first place. I come in last place. Anyway, enough of my stupidity. Let's go to our final Gear Athlete segment this week. IFBB Pro bikini competitor Carolina Silva, who is at the gym right now, it looks like, and I guess she's going to give us a tip on how bikini competitors train. Carolina, how is it going?
Hey Jeff, how are you? What's up, Gear TV? I'm here in Florida. We're here at the gym. I just wanted to go over a couple of my training methods for this year. I am currently training with Body University, Francine Sablon and Jason Tweed. A couple of my training methods this year, philosophy, it's a little different than last year. We've kind of been incorporating a lot of, HIIT style training, a lot of Tabata style training, and what that is, it's pretty much, high intensity regimen in a short amount of time, and it's best for intervals, and it helps boost anaerobic, the fitness. So pretty much we're doing a lot in a short amount of time, which, who doesn't want to get their workout done in less than an hour? Very high intensity, supersetting. My training split this year it looks more, I'm training glutes about 3 times a week. I'm doing shoulders about 3 times a week, also back as well. I'm doing a lot more core this year. We're trying to bring a more athletic kind of look this year than, just that bikini kind of skinny look. We're just trying a lot of different things, just experimenting, taking our time, just incorporating different methods than, the usual, just lifting weights and cardio. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of, like a lot of plyometrics, a lot of non-weighted things like speed lunges, burpees, you know, you name it. Like, let's go over my training split right now. Like, I have for glutes and core, you know, we incorporate a lot of Swiss ball lunges, not just, you know, the glute machine, a lot of outdoor training, total body workouts, you know. Sometimes we'll split it up into upper body, lower body, and we like to mix it up, you know. We're mixing it up every week. We're doing yoga, you know, incorporating a lot of more yoga to try and increase the flexibility and just different things, mainly the HIIT training for sure, and the Tabata style training, which is, if you guys want to look it up, it's phenomenal. Interval training, you get the most out of the least amount of time. So if you guys want to look that up, it's very, very, I recommend it. And I guess back to you, Jeff.
Thanks a lot, Carolina, and we'll see you next week along with Jason Poston and Lindsay Waters. I'm Jeff, the producer. That concludes our athlete segment this week on our premiere episode of Gear TV Online. Coming up next, we have IFBB Pro Juan Diesel Morel, and hopefully I'll get my co-host back wherever he went. That would be Joe Pietaro, the editor-in-chief of Fitness RX for Men Online. This is Gear TV. I am Jeff, the producer. See you in just a minute.
It's not about perfection. It's not about how much weight is lifted or how many miles can be ran. It isn't about the wins or losses or even the competition. At the end of the day, it's about you. How you feel about yourself. It's about making progress. It's about pushing yourself and learning just how far you can take it. It's about setting goals and demolishing them. It's about seeing the limits and knowing you are limitless. It's about never giving up and never giving in. Do you have what it takes?
Welcome to Muscle in the Afternoon on Gear TV. I'm Pete Kacharian. This year is a very special one in the bodybuilding community as we have Joe Weider's 50th anniversary Mr. Olympia Fitness and Performance Weekend, which will be held on September 18th through 21st at the Las Vegas Convention Center and Orleans Arena. And if you haven't heard already, American Media Inc. and NBC Sports Group have partnered to bring back the Mr. Olympia to television for the first time since 1984. A lot has changed since Lee Haney won his first of 8 Olympia titles, as this year will see 3-time Mr. O, the Gift, Phil Heath, defend his title, going for his 4th win in what Heath calls the War for 4. NBCSN will televise 2 90-minute specials of the contest at later dates, with the first being October 18th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the second on October 25th at 5:30 p.m. This year is also a special one for Gear Nutra, as IFBB pros Juan Morel, Jason Poston, and Aaron Clark are all confirmed to compete at this year's Olympia. Morel, coming off a win at the Toronto Pro, had a very successful year so far, as he took 2nd place to Steve Kuklo at the Arnold Brazil, and finished just short of 1st place in his hometown of New York, to only be knocked off by the massive and freaky Big Ramy. A bright future for Morel for sure, as he climbs the ladder, making his first step on the Olympia stage this year. Gear Nutra's 212 Pro and top contender Aaron Clark also had a great amount of success this year, taking 3rd at the Arnold Classic, taking out veterans Jose Raymond and Hidetada Yamagishi, later claiming victory at the New York Pro. Another pro with huge amounts of potential, Clark will be hitting the stage once again with reigning 212 champ Flex Lewis next month in Vegas. Gear Nutra's men's physique pro Jason Poston had a breakout year in 2014 as he competed in 4 pro shows, 3 of which he was victorious, only taking 2nd place in Pittsburgh to reigning men's physique Olympian Mark Anthony. Poston later knocked off last year's New York Pro champ Sadiq Hadzovic right in his hometown at this year's New York Pro. Poston will also be representing Gear Nutra at this year's Olympia in its pursuit to become the next men's physique Olympian. Good luck to all 3 athletes making their Olympia debut, and check out Gear TV's YouTube channel at youtube.com/GearNutra. Then head over to the Instagram page at Gear Nutraceutical, and of course, visit our website at GearNutra.com. More Gear TV to come with Jeff the producer right after this.
Welcome back to Gear TV. I'm Jeff, the producer, still here with Joey Pietaro, editor-in-chief of Fitness RX Online for Men. Did I say that right, or did I screw that up?
Fitness RX for Men Online, but close enough.
But he's still Joey Pietaro. At least I got that part right. This is our first guest segment of the Gear TV show, and I'm actually proud to have him in studio. He's taking time out from his contest prep for the 2014 Mr. Olympia contest. They call him Diesel. His full name, Juan Diesel Morel. Welcome to Gear TV, Juan.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on? I know that you're a little bit depleted now because you're 6 weeks out from the Olympia.
Not depleted at all, just tired.
All right, good. The main reason why we have you here is because you just recently put out a video that you filmed an entire day of you eating for one of your cheat days, one of your epic cheat days. 20,000 calories. A lot of people didn't believe it, but you documented it from 4 in the morning until like what time at night? Like 11 or 12?
It was like midnight. Until
midnight. Talk about like how you, I guess, came up with the idea of filming this, why you filmed it, and how long have you been doing this crazy cheat day?
I filmed it because everybody kept asking every time I would post pictures. I've been posting pictures, I think, of my eating since I started 2007. Anybody who followed me on Facebook, 2007 was MySpace, and you know, I guess I was really one of the first people who just started posting food pictures, and I would just, you know, I just had a food thing. I loved food, so I started posting pictures. I always posted them. People give me the feedbacks, and I remember even just being an NPC competitor, would post a picture, it would just end up being like a 200 comment picture because everybody would chime in, and we just, you know, conversating like, oh my God, I hate you, blah blah blah, whatever. So
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. When you say a food picture, we're not talking about dry chicken and rice. You're like posting pictures of
junk.
What? Right, junk food. Give us an example of like what you're posting.
Lasagnas, pizza. I'm a big Pizza Hut guy. It could be whatever kind of pizza I was eating. Wings, honey barbecue wings, blue cheese, a lot of Spanish food, mango and eggs, you know, just tons of ice. I'm a big ice cream guy, tons of cookies. So it would just be stuff like that. And, you know, people knew me, like, you know, now I guess it's getting more, you know, a lot more people start to like take notice of how I eat, but people in the industry would know how I ate, especially close friends of mine that would hang out with me and would see me eat. They just couldn't believe how much I'm eating. They're like, you're 3 weeks out from the show, how you eating like this? Then they were like, you know, at first people would get scared because like he's 3 weeks out. Then they'll see how I'm coming to the show shredded, and then they'll see what I'm eating coming into a show. And then I'm like, wow. Now, so now all my friends are used to it. They don't even, you know, don't even budge. But now everybody's more like now seeing the video and seeing the pictures. They're like, oh my God, how do you eat? When you cut the cheats out, when you know, so it was kind of, you know, I think I should have went into more details explaining things, but I've been doing this my whole life. I'm an actual ectomorph. I was a skinny kid. I ate bad my whole life, so me eating clean is actually new to my body. I was a kid growing up eating ice cream and pizza all day long on top of the Spanish food that my parents cooked, and I was walking around 3 to 5% body fat year round. Then got into bodybuilding, and I remember when I did my first show, 2007, which was, I did a 4-week prep. And if you call it prep or whatever, I didn't know what I was doing. Qualified for nationals with my first show. And I remember after the show's over and everybody's eating, you know, me, John
De La Rosa, talk about.
And it was like my friend Armando, we all finished doing the same show. And we all met up like 3 weeks later, and everybody gained like 40, 50 pounds. And I'm eating like a horse. I'm eating everything in sight, and I'm still shredded. It looks like I just competed yesterday. And he was like, how's he eating? The only thing was I was shredded, but I was full. So everybody's like, yeah. I remember John was saying like, how does he still look like that? I was like, you know, I don't know. I thought this was normal. I don't know. I just started bodybuilding. So to me, that was like, don't you eat, just get bigger as long as you're working. My whole thing was, if you eat, you can eat whatever you want as long as you're working out. Right. Because that was a saying that my family said, or if you heard people say, oh, he works out, you can eat whatever you want. So as long as I train, I can eat whatever I want. So you look good all the time. And then I started noticing that my body was different, being around other athletes and stuff like that, and, you know.
So you've been doing it since 2007, basically?
That kind of dieting.
In terms of the bodybuilding aspect I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. And I used to do 2 cheat days instead of 1.
I tell you, Juan, there's one part in that 20,000 calorie video. It's there's a few parts that, I actually was like laughing watching, like I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I believe it was the part when you're doing a lot of banging down ice cream, but then you say, look, I still got abs, and you pull your shirt up. I could definitely understand where the other guys are like, I hate you, man,
Yeah, because most of the time people blur, you see them eat right in front of you, and their stomach would just turn into water, like it would just smooth out right in front of them. I've never seen it, and I'm like, whoa, that's so weird. Like I can eat like that all, you see me days after I would eat like that, and I look really dry. We're doing videos, and like it takes me, before I get water, it'll take me about a whole week of eating like that. And it was just something that I was like, wow, it was like weird to see people like right before my eyes, just see them smooth out just from eating a piece of ice cream or cake. I was like, that's weird.
The really funny thing about that part of the video that you brought up, Joey, I think that was after you ate the Five Guys meal and you stood outside, you kind of stretched your arms out, you're like, Now, when you started the video, for breakfast, what was the first meal? Describe it, and also talk about how you weren't satisfied and what you did right after that, because I thought that was my favorite part. Like
it was Oreos, chocolate, ice cream, and I add Oreos, and then I add fudge. Right. So
and you crumple up all the Oreos to make sure it's nice and condensed, and then you put the fudge on top. You mix it up. I mean, this is breakfast.
This is
you set your alarm to get up at 4 o'clock.
I don't set it up. No, I just wake up.
Your body wakes up.
I wake
up.
I want to eat, and like that. Like I said, was such a tapered down cheat day. Like most of my and I went on CalorieKing.com, and I was like, let me check how many calories I could actually consume. I actually consumed 26,000 calories that day.
26,000
without even trying.
26,000 without trying, and this is like a tapered down day. Like, remember what he's saying. We have to get like an actual day where you're you're doing more. But I mean, this is not even pushing it. So.
When I'm just eating the way I want to eat, and not having to go anywhere. Because the thing was, I was moving around, so I didn't want to be able to not be able to move. If at any time you saw me during that video, you didn't see me like, oh, I'm too stuffed. I was never stuffed.
No,
because I didn't overeat to the point that I couldn't move. I didn't want to, and that's how I normally would eat on a Sunday, which is. Like I say, if I went to pizza, I normally would eat 2 pies. Right. If you look at my pictures on whatever, I would eat 2 pies, and then I'll go get the ice cream. So
let me ask you a question about that first thing. So you basically scoop out this huge serving of ice cream for any normal person, okay? And then you took again a huge serving of Oreos, and then you put the fudge. Now after you ate that, you said, I'm not done yet. And you went for a second serving.
I went for the rest of the tub.
So you just killed the whole quart?
Yeah. That's normal. Like I would do that. Yeah. I normally would go through, you saw there I ate about 3, no, it's a quart and a half actually.
A quart and a half, okay.
I normally eat about a gallon a day. Because I go through 2 of those quarts. I do an Oreo, I'll have like another flavor which I'll do, and then I do my pralines and cream.
Right.
So I normally, do that, and sometimes even while doing that, I might, because I'm like, hey, while we're in Pizza Hut, I might, like I said, most of the time I'll buy all my stuff, like, how I had the Oreos, I buy them a few days ahead. So let's say after the Pizza Hut, or Five Guys, I will go to hey, we might see Häagen-Dazs. I haven't had Häagen-Dazs in a while, let's get that. So I'll add that to the ice cream that I'm already eating at home, which is nothing, especially when I'm just gonna be home and watching TVs, because sometimes me and my wife, we watch movies, nothing escapes. Like the whole cabin will be full. By the end of that night, everything's gone.
Nothing escapes.
Nothing escapes.
Juan, I have a stupid, but I believe it's a valid question here. How many bathrooms are in your house?
Right now, there's 2.
Okay. With all of this 20,000 calories, I'm sure you. How many times a day?
I think like a normal person. Yeah, like a normal person.
That's more impressive.
We want a number. We want a number. No, but that no, funny, Joe, because that was one of the questions on YouTube. If you go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/GearNutri, you will see that some of the comments were, well, how many times this guy actually used the facility?
Like a normal person. Yeah, it's my body uses it, digests as well, and I go to normal person, I would say we go twice a day, and normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right. So that basically finishes off the meal number 1. Okay. Now after that, I thought I saw you mix up some eggs.
Yeah, I did.
So I had how many eggs did you have, and what did you have with it?
If I'm trying to think, I think I had about 4 whole and 4 whites, and then I had bagel with P28 peanut butter, which I have every day.
Right.
A raisin bagel.
A real raisin bagel.
Yeah.
No healthy bagel. You went out.
Real raisin bagel.
A real raisin bagel. Yep.
And had Honey Bunches of Oats.
Right.
One of my favorite cereal is Captain Crunch, but Honey Bunches of Oats is like right now what I'm I just got a kick for it.
You're craving that particular one right now.
Exactly.
Okay, so like after that, like you, at what point in the video did you train? Was it right after that, or did you have
about an hour after that?
Okay, so now you have these two gigantic meals in you. Okay, how long after that second meal did you train? Did you wait? You know, you said like an hour. You said.
Yeah, I was in the gym about.
How did you feel when you were training? Did you feel fine?
I felt fine.
Joey, think about it. Okay, the ice cream he kills off. He has the eggs. He has the egg whites. He has cereal, Honey Bunches of Oats specifically, a real raisin bagel on top of everything else he said, the P28, you know, like peanut butter and everything. Would you be able to train an hour after that?
I would be in the bathroom for a half hour and the couch for about 2 hours.
I would be on the couch. Yeah. I would be passed out cold because I would be in shock. I mean, I actually tried. You know, after you see that video, you know, you feel like, okay, well, challenge. Well, if Juan could do it, I could do it. I got through half. No, I got through half of the buyers. I went right to sleep. Because you know, again, when that's the first thing you put into your body, like everything shoots up. You want to collapse.
Sure, you get that sugar rush, and then boom, done. Yeah.
So you don't feel lethargic. You feel fine after you have like
in order for me, to get lethargic, I have to eat way more than, because there's some Saturday nights, like Saturday nights meaning like it's Sunday morning, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, where I go to sleep a Saturday, and I wake up and I'm like outside, like, all right, I know it's my cheat day, so I try to sleep as much as possible and then wake up whenever I can. So I'm like, sometimes I just can't wait. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna eat. And I normally that's why I say it's a taper down. I would normally eat, a whole meal might take me a whole hour. I'll start and I'll eat everything in sight for a whole hour, and then I'll stop. And I'll do that for a whole hour, let's say from 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning, go back to sleep, wake up, eat the normal breakfast, and I'm like, fine, you'll be lethargic because I'll be fine. I eat my breakfast, I'm ready to train, nothing's wrong with me, no bloatness, I seriously feel like when I'm in especially contest prep and I'm like getting closer to a show, my metabolism is so revved up at the point that it's amazing how much I can be able to put away and still function correctly. Because I know like at times when I'm off season and my metabolism is not as fast because I'm not as active, I'll eat and I'm ready to go to sleep, like you said,
Yeah.
So, but now it's like I'll eat that stuff and it just digests it so quick it's simply like, I really think it's amazing the amount of food I can put down right now.
It is. It's quite amazing. But as Jeff said, as we sit here today, you're 6 weeks out from the O. When do you cut out this Sunday cheat day?
I never cut it out. I just tapered them down. You saw it 2 weeks before.
Oh, yeah.
I still have it just to taper down. Like I was having, like instead of having a whole bunch of quarts, I'll have like 1 quart for that day. And actually, no, that day I even text you, I even ate cereal. Like,
oh, that's right.
I end up because we was putting this video together, and I end up like, oh well, I think I sent you a video.
You did.
Like, I ate a whole box of cereal before going to bed and some ice cream and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, but add this to the video. I just finished off, so whatever. But it's just a taper down version. So let's say if I'm doing like I did 26. I would say I can honestly sit here on camera and say that on a real cheat day, like I've been doing this past Sunday, just passed the Sunday after that, and the Sunday. I can honestly say right now, and not be putting my foot in my mouth, is I'm really doing maybe 40,000, because that to me was a taper down. Even friends of mine that's even Jill commented on one of the things, like, I seen you eat more than that at one sitting.
I actually saw that comment on Facebook. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Like, that's nothing. It's like people who've seen it, and they're like, that's not that bad.
40,000 calories.
I will add another 14,000 calories to what I did on that day of other real foods and just more junk and stuff like that. But
wow.
I didn't have that day like, besides the Oreos. I don't know if you remember the chocolate chunk cookies that I eat.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, these are very special cookies that that you get from a specific place, store. And if they don't have it, that's it.
And Oreos, that whole pack is about 2,000 calories. Mm-hmm. These cookies are double that, so they'll be like just 4,000 an hour. And I eat the whole thing that day as well. So I mean, there's just so many other foods that I will eat. And eating, like I said, I'll just be like sleeping. Like I'll be eating and sleeping. I wake up and I eat and sleep. And
so let me ask you another question. So you're like doing these like cheat meals and everything else like that, and you've done this for years and everything, and you hit the 40,000 calorie mark, which we definitely got to see. Okay, but have you ever checked your blood work to see what it's doing to you?
My cholesterol. I believe I believe I have showed it to you before. I'm not sure if But
You actually have. I'm just asking because I know there's people out there who have that question.
My good cholesterol was high. My bad cholesterol was low,
which is where
perfect,
it should be,
the way
right.
you want it to be. My blood work is always on point. You know, I never had any problems with anything. You know, so it's my doctor always says I'm very healthy, and you know he knows how I eat, and he sees how big I am. He's like, wow, my heart is in excellent condition. I got my heart checked not too long ago, and for a bodybuilder, for a normal person is awesome, but the doctor was, I've never seen a bodybuilder who has no leaking valves. He said almost every bodybuilder, well, he said every bodybuilder that he has had in his office has leaking valves because of the heavy training. Like, you'll get like little valves. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's, you know, I have none. And I lift heavy, and I lift, you know, I got what people call a crazy style of training, and you would think, I would think, well, if that's normal, I would say, hey, you know, I'm gonna have that too. I had none. My heart was in excellent condition.
You know what? The proof is in the pudding, because if you can eat like that and train the way you do, obviously you get a clean bill of health when you get all the blood work checked. You look fantastic. You're definitely a threat. Come Vegas, we're gonna, you know, see some good things of you coming there. So it doesn't work for everybody, but it works for you. So you know what?
Yeah, our bodies, and it's something that I've learned to over the years. Just, you know, I've helped people get ready for shows. And I love nutrition, so I read up a lot of nutrition.
Why bother?
But I like to know, you know, like I like to understand, you know, when I got into this, I got certified. I can't have you, you know, I was a personal trainer for many years.
Yeah.
I can't help, hey, you know, I eat ice cream all day and do this and do that.
Of course.
I can't, so I have to help you so many people. I always adjust that everybody's diet is different. And notice that all our bodies are so different. And even just, you know, so just because 90% of the world body reacts to certain things doesn't mean that the other 10% biologically is supposed to. Mm-hmm. But, you know, realistically, it's not true. I mean, look how many people, you know, like myself, like, you know, you have that are always extremely lean, and, you know, they never, you know, no matter what they eat, they never get fat or whatever the case is. You know, everybody's body's different. You got people who eat one meal a day and are over 400 pounds, you know?
Right.
Everybody's body's different. They respond differently to food. The body breaks it down differently and stuff like that. So I'm very convinced that my body I'm very carb tolerant. You know, believe it or not, people, when I eat, if I decide to do low carbs, I actually don't lose weight. It becomes hard for me to lose weight. Right. When I eat high carbs in my diet, that's when I actually lose weight, you know? Yeah. So it's like, you know, if I try, let me try to deplete for a show and bring down my carbs to 200 for a week, my weight will stagnate. Let me bring it down to 800. Bring it up to 800 because whatever, and that's when my weight will start dropping like a fly. It's just my body responds better to higher carbs.
Yeah, it's interesting. You probably have like a higher basal metabolic rate than, like, you know, other normal people. Like, where, you know, whereas let's say that I like dropped it down to a certain level. You know, the reason why I would lose weight is because I'm way below my level. You're like so far above that like you're actually compensating for that muscle loss. That's why you have to keep it at 800. You start depleting too much, your body leaches muscle.
But it breaks down different because, like, the protein, I've noticed I grow well on not as high. Before I would go 800 to 1,000 grams of protein, and now I've noticed that I grow better on just between 350 to 400 grams of protein, which are mostly a bodybuilder, like, you know, people are like, oh, that's low or that's moderate, you know.
So your macronutrient is way in favor of carbs.
It's carbs, and I react good to fat. So it's like
fats
I eat a lot of whole eggs, you know, steak and eggs, you know, rice. So it's a lot of fats. A lot of peanut butter. Right now, between eggs, peanut butter, and I think those are and macadamia nut oil. I use a lot of that. I use that with every meal. You know, but I get in a lot of fats.
Juan, Olympia. Let's talk a little bit about that. Obviously, we know that it's a great
50th
lineup.
anniversary.
50th anniversary, right? Great lineup this year. Obviously, you know, everybody says that the top three, everybody's kind of saying, okay, Phil, Kai, Dennis. But you're a guy that a lot of people maybe are not mentioning in that same conversation, but I think that's a mistake. Are you going to win this year's Mr. Olympia? I don't know, but I know that you're going to have something to say about that. I think you're going to be in the pose down. I think for you to be there at this, your first time you're deciding to go into the O, I think it's a great time for you. You looked fantastic in New York.
Thank you.
You got, you know, a couple of victories under your belt with the Arnold Overseas and Toronto Pro. and you're walking into this Olympia in great, space time as far as getting prepped. How do you feel walking into this show? I know we're 6 weeks out, but just look into the future a little bit.
Right now I feel really, 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 really good. I'm sitting at 270 pounds, a very lean 270. I got lines in my glutes, so that means it's good.
What was your stage weight at your most recent show at the Toronto?
It was 259.
You're 259, and right now you're 270.
Yeah,
not that big of a difference.
No, but no, of course not. What do you think that your stage weight's going to be for the Olympia? You have no idea.
Honestly, I don't know. Even if I could weigh what I weigh at Toronto, it would be great. I over-carved up for Toronto, but I didn't spill. So I New York Pro, I was like 255. So. Right. I could have been around the same way. I just made sure that I really wanted my body to be really full. So it wasn't, I was 259, but when you have those crazy cheats and your body just expands, it was just a good full, being a really, really full version of myself, but without the spilling, I didn't spill, so it was a good full and dry. So even if I weigh the same, I know I will look bigger now because I've put on some good size from here to Toronto. So I don't know what I'm going to weigh. I don't care. I'm just going to focus on bringing that crisp condition and just, bringing my best package today. Every show I've been improving. I want to make sure that I come to this show and I'm not leaving any open, just closing all the doors. So any chance I have to place as high as I will, I can cover every single corner.
So we're definitely going to see the best Juan Morel that we've ever seen so far.
Yes.
Good.
I'm gonna, I'm happy. I'm not crashing right now. Sometimes people after doing all these shows, they're burnt out. I have so much energy in the gym. Yeah,
I was going to ask you about that. How's your training going? Do you modify
energy? Everything's great.
Do you modify your training at all, getting closer to a show, in terms of weight, volume? Nothing at all. You keep it the same?
Always the same.
Yeah, Joe, if you've seen Juan train, even in videos, it's a very explosive, heavy, intense, long workout. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you have two schedules where you train at 10 in the morning, you train at night at some point.
Yeah.
So that is maintained straight through until contest time.
The contest all season,
Yeah.
So that, I love to train. So for me I'm going to do what I love, regardless of all the rules that everybody has about overtraining and doing certain things. I love to be in the gym and train. This is my hobby. People like playing basketball. I love to just go to the gym and train. So I'm going to do what I love. And it's giving me results. Obviously, you wouldn't be 270 pounds if you're overtraining, or getting stronger every workout if you're overtraining. Or,
Right. You said the magic words before. Everyone's body is different.
Yeah.
What works for Jay Cutler doesn't mean it works for you. What works for Joe Blow doesn't mean it's going to work for his brother.
And Joe Blow's a good bodybuilder.
You look at Jay Cutler. You look at Jay Cutler in his prime. He's trained for 3 to 5 hours. A lot of I don't know if a lot of people. He just do a lot of volume. He would do he would go and do back. He would do 30 sets, and then he'll come back at night and do more back. People didn't. People do know that who his real fans are, that have read his articles or But at his prime, when he was training against Ronnie Coleman and stuff like that, Jay Cutler was really big on the volume. Look how big that's where I've gotten a lot of my training styles. It's been from Jay Cutler, Kai Green. All these guys are high volume trainers. I'm like, there has to be a secret why these guys get so big.
Right.
And the secret is that they put on, they train hard. They put on, the muscle. It's, to me, this is the way I think about growing the body part. It's like anything, you want to expand it.
Right.
Put in as much blood as possible, and getting that volume from the, let's say a high rep set or or a superset, you're gonna create a crazy pump. So the more blood you rush into that muscle, the more it's gonna expand, and of course the pump goes away after you're training after some point, but you're breaking down that muscle tissue. If you're just training heavy all the time, like I do train heavy, but if you just train heavy without chasing that pump, then I don't believe your body's gonna grow to its, to its full extent and get that really nice round and 3D look, so.
The interesting thing that you're saying is that your philosophy of chasing the pump and also with that volume training, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong also, but that's like a old school philosophy where, you get to the gym for as many, for as long as it takes. Like, it's not, you're not wiping yourself out mentally and physically. You want to feel that blood rush. And a lot of guys from the 70s, Arnold included, Surge and Break comes to mind. I mean, these guys, I guess that they had it right. And I think that the element that you're adding that I don't remember seeing, maybe it wasn't documented, but you are lifting extremely heavy. Now, for you, it may be moderate, okay? But for the average person and for the average even bodybuilder, like the weights that you're using are significant. They're not insignificant. I mean, watching you on back day, I could probably hang with you in 2 sets, but you're doing deadlifts. Let's like talk about your back training. At what point do you do your deadlifts?
I start with the deadlift.
You start with it, and then you go back to, I think, the bent over row at some point, which is a very similar movement. So you start with deadlifts, now you have to power through all the other movements, and then you come back to the bent over row, where you're doing like 4 plates for reps at the end of a workout. And this continues through the Olympia. This continues right up to... Guys, listen, I mean, again, if you want to be big, okay, there's a couple things you have to understand. Number one, everyone's a little bit different, like Juan's saying, okay? But, volume, lifting heavy, and lifting consistently. I mean, there's no excuse to take time off. And I know you're also big on that. That, like, for you, an off day just doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't like them. I like to train. When I get off days, I get so bored. And even on Sundays, it was becoming so boring because I always took off on Sundays.
Right.
And recently, I just started training on Sundays because of the travel. And it's been so much more fun. I was like, okay, it might be that I'm in the gym 2 hours of that day, but it just made my day so much more fun. As if before, it would just be eating and sleeping, and basically driving my wife crazy because we're going to Five Guys here. Next time we're going to Pizza Hut. Oh, let's go to a Cheesecake Factory. Let's do this. So I'm like planning my day around food, but I'm still like, it gets boring. I mean, yeah, you're eating so much, but then you're like, what do you do in between besides sleep? So it's like, I love to train. And that whole day I was like, I need that day of rest. I need that day of rest because our body needs, and now mostly my Saturday is more like a rest day. I'm still going into the gym and doing something, but it's more calisthenics, So to me, since I'm not doing weights, it's a rest day. So, but at least I'm doing something, and it's something I just started doing recently, and
kind of like an active rest.
It's just I feel better doing something. For me, mentally, it's something that I like to be active, or just don't like sitting around doing anything at all, And I'm not one of those guys that just could be home all day and watching TV. Nothing wrong with it. Just can't do that. I just need to be doing something, whether is going to I don't know.
Right, you have to. No. You're a very physically active person, so you could be doing 20 things during the day, taking care of errands, like driving around, spending time with people. But you got to get to the point.
The only time I get really tired is now when I start hitting, I guess, the 4-week mark. I start training, sleeping, eating, training, sleeping, eating. So I sleep a lot. Like I say, now I get about 8 hours of rest. No, I'm lying, 9. So I go to sleep at 11 and I wake up at 8.
Right.
So when now that I get into the 4-week mark, I wake up, when I go to the gym, after I get back, like I said, I finish training at 1, from 2 to like 6 o'clock, I'll sleep and then wake up and go back to the gym. So I'm sleeping most of the day when I'm not training. So it's basically training. Basically, my day just looks, if I'm not eating, the only thing you're going to catch me doing is sleeping, eating, and training.
They always say, listen to your body, right? You know your body better than anybody. You know better than your trainer. You know it better than the guy writing the column in the magazine on the newsstand. So if your body's telling you you have the energy to go 7 days a week, regardless if it's that Saturday, like you said, it's not a lifting day, it's more of a cardio and stretch out day, whatever, that's fine. And if your body's saying, okay, you need to sleep, you're getting to sleep.
Yeah, if I'm tired and I don't feel like going to the gym, I'm not going to go.
You're listening to your body.
I'm not going to go.
That's a smart way of doing it.
But if I feel like, hey, I have energy and I'm bored and I want to go to the gym, I always think this is when you know you're overtraining. It's when you don't want to go to the gym and train.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Definitely. If you're like, I don't want to train right now, I'm not in the mood to train, then you're overtraining. And I told myself, if I feel that way, then I'm going to not train. I haven't had that yet, but I am consuming tons of calories right now because I'm still, like I said, I'm still trying to put on a little bit of size before I start tapering down. And, I still feel like really, my body weight's really high right now. So once I start bringing it back down, then I'll probably start going back to a rest day. And like I said, I'm traveling so much right now. So even on those days that I'm traveling, I'm not able to put in those, same workouts I'll be able to put in at home. So that's another like tapering back down, because if I'm used to, I'm a big believer in kind of not going as crazy when you're traveling, because you don't want to get hurt. If you don't know the weights, you don't know the gym. So when I'm out traveling, let's say go to another gym, I'm not going to go as heavy. So if I'm normally squatting 405, I'm going to squat 225.
Right. You make sure that you're keeping like just kind of the mental focus of of like being smart when you're on the road. Right. So, speaking of traveling, like this year you had a ton of guest appearances. I think you just came off of the Red Stick Classic down in Louisiana. And this weekend, I believe you have a store appearance. Talk about the store appearance, where you're going to, be, and like at what time.
It's going to be in Astoria, Queens from 12 to 2 o'clock. And I'm going to be there, and all the fans, anybody who wants to meet me, I'll be there. And, take as much time as possible to talk to every single fan who comes out. If I have to stay there past 2 o'clock, I will. And I'm looking forward to being there this weekend. And
I'm pretty sure it's the Vitality Health Mart or something like that. We're gonna put that information on the bottom of the screen right here. We'll make sure that Pete the intern gets that up there. But why don't you give out your Instagram and any other ways that people can reach you in case they want to find out more about this, and just to catch up with what Juan Morel's up to.
You could reach. Sorry.
That's fine.
My Instagram is Juan Diesel Morel. My Twitter is Juan Diesel, and my Facebook fan page is Juan Diesel. Now, one thing I want to mention again at the end of the segment is reading the videos. A lot of people, reading the comments, a lot of people think, that it has a lot to do with supplements. It has not. It has not. People, was always a person with a very fast metabolism, and I always ate like that and was always extremely lean. It took eating a lot of, in my beginning stages of bodybuilding, eating a lot of bad foods for me to end up gaining weight. And, if you notice that other bodybuilders, if they try to eat the way I eat, they get fat. They'll get big, but they'll get fat. I don't get over the single digits body fat ever. So, it's called it's just different genetics, it's just, everybody's genetics are different, and some people are naturally leaner than others, no matter how much they eat or what they do. So just wanted to put that out there. People, educate yourself sometimes before, you come and make your own conclusions to things, because don't do what I do. Find what works for you. Find your formula, because you might be other people who might have to eat like me, and then others that can't eat like me, but. Right. I don't do it because I want to. People think, well, you're doing this cheat day. I'm not. It looks like it's great. Sometimes it's fun. But sometimes when you're tired of eating, it's not so much fun, because you're trying to keep full, because, you're like, oh, wow, I got to get big. I got to stay. I'm flattening out, and you're closer to a show, and you have to eat a certain amount of meals, a certain amount of carbs in order to fill up. It gets a little, and put it in the off season, put it on the sides. It gets really hard. It's not fun. So when you guys think that, well, he's lucky, at the end of the day, I'm not, because I have to eat the double amount of food every day. And when you have to experience that and you feel what I feel, to the point that I don't want to eat anymore, but I have to, and I force myself because I want to put on the size, it's not as fun as people think it is.
Yeah, it's not, it's not all fun and games, Joe. It's like, he actually is doing this because if you don't, you'll lose muscle. You won't be able to train right. Yeah. And obviously you're making tremendous gains. Every year it looks like you're putting on 3 years worth of muscle. And obviously this is a direct result of how you're training and how you're eating. But you spoke about supplements.
You got to make sure there is one supplement line, GearNutra.com, that definitely is part of your program.
I take that before every workout, honestly, and everybody knows that I do. Especially anybody who sees me in the gym. I love my pre-workout. I was just touching base on, being able to eat whatever you want to eat, and having people, basics. Because people think that, he's taking, this fat burner, and this is why he is so lean.
Well, Juan, come on. When you're, I'm saying this, Juan isn't. When you're behind a keyboard, Joe, it's very easy to anonymously call out people when you're not hearing the truth. Here we have a pro bodybuilder, a lot of experience. He's winning shows. He's out there. He's willing to tell you, this is what I have to do. This is why I'm doing it. It's your choice to believe. If you want to come up with theories, my belief about you is that you are a genetic freak in certain respects. Now, in order for you to be a successful bodybuilder, unfortunately or fortunately, interestingly, you get to eat tremendous amounts of food. You just said at some points, you know, it actually becomes it becomes like a borderline job.
90% of the time, I'm not enjoying it. I remember that I said in that video, if anybody watch it, I didn't have an appetite.
That's right.
I was like one of those days where I really didn't have an appetite. I was like, I could have done without it. Fans wanted to see how I had, my cheat days. They always seen the pictures. I gave the fans what they wanted, you know, and I'm glad for those who enjoyed the video. I've got so many good responses. Thank you so much for the support, you know, and I'm giving you guys what you guys want to see. And the next videos that you guys want to see, please let me know, and we'll be putting it together. We have a few things in the works right now. And next one is going to be more of a lifestyle video. It's going to show my clean version of eating. At the same time, me going to the gym, training, you know, how I wake up and I, go to the gym and train twice a day and stuff like that. So you guys are going to enjoy more. You guys are going to see a little bit more different things going on instead of just that cheat day. You're going to see what a normal day looks like for me in my life right now.
Juan, I want to thank you for coming on. I know you have a busy schedule. Thank you again for taking the time out. And by the way, this is number 2. We're not like, this is the second time that Juan came out here because he wanted to get it right. I do appreciate you taking time out to do that. Gear TV, I'm Jeff the producer, here with my co-host Joey Pietaro. We'll be right back after these messages.
It's not about perfection. It's not about how much weight is lifted or how many miles can be ran. It isn't about the wins or losses or even the competition. At the end of the day, it's about you, how you feel about yourself. It's about making progress. It's about pushing yourself and learning just how far you can take it. It's about setting goals and demolishing them. It's about seeing the limits and knowing you are limitless. It's about never giving up and never giving in. Do you have what it takes?
Welcome back to Gear TV. I'm Jeff, the producer, this time solo in studio because my co-host Joe Pietaro had to head back to his editor-in-chief duties over at Fitness RX for Men Online because that's a pretty hard position, and it's kind of fascinating that he actually found some time to stop by with us, right, Pete? I mean, it was kind of nice of him, right? Of course, I'm talking to Pete, the intern behind the scenes. You can't see him. Maybe one day on the show you might. You did catch the first episode of Muscle in the Afternoon, hosted by Pete Kacharian, who gave us the insight into the future of 3 gear athletes who will be gracing the Olympia stage for the first time. And next week, we're going to have some more great guests, of course, some more athlete updates. But before we go, we just want to remind everyone to buy gear products, because why else are we doing this show? We want you to get some, right? So we have our 3 signature line products, all from the Shock series: Pre-Shock, E-Shock, and Max Shock. You got your pre-workout, your intro workout, and your post-workout all covered. If you want more information about any of these 3 products, please go to GearNutra.com. And we just came out with our product called Sleep to Grow, which was very highly in demand. A lot of you guys asked for a supplement that can help you go to sleep at night while simultaneously helping you keep muscle gains. This is the product to do it. Again, for more information about this, check us out at GearNutra.com. Just a few thank yous I'd love to thank, because I'm just in love with thanking them. I want to thank Muscular Development, of course, for airing this, NPC News Online, Heyday Footwear for their amazing line of Gear Nutra branded footwear that you can catch at Heyday Footwear. Of course, Fuel Meals, Liquid Sun Rays, and everyone else for watching our first episode. Next week, we're going to come back, like I said, with an incredible lineup. You're not going to believe who we have on. I want to thank you for watching this week. Once again, I'm Jeff, the producer. This is Gear TV Online. For Pete, the intern, thanks a lot. Good night.